In this question, it asks us to work out the side of length A. It's not a right angle triangle, so we can't use SOHCAHTOA. We're going to use the sine rule, which hopefully you've just looked at. Now, I know I can use the sine rule because we can use the sine rule whenever we have a pair of values. And by that I mean, if I call this angle B, then this is side B, and therefore they're what I call a pair. If I call this angle A, this is already called side A, and they're a pair as well. So I can work out A. So when we're talking about pairs of angles and side, that's where we're going to use the sine rule. If we don't have that, there's another rule that we're going to learn called the cosine rule, which will come in a couple of lessons' time. So because I'm trying to find a side, I'm going to start with the rule which has the side on the top of the fraction. So it becomes A over sine A equals B over sine B. The letters are irrelevant. I could have had C over sine C. I could have called that 49 angle C. As long as they're paired up correctly, that's the main thing. So subbing in what we know, A is what we're trying to find. Sine, the angle is 25. B is 11 over sine of 49. Now what I would do at this stage is you must write this line, that line I've done there for working out, but what you could do now is just go into your E activity and say, put the dot next to little a, say that big A is 25, little b is 11, and big B is 49, and press solve, and it will do it for you. Or you can rearrange this and put it into your calculator by bringing up that sine 25. Putting that into your calculator, and it will give you the answer as well. So when you put that in, it tells you that side A is 6.16. There's no units in the question. It doesn't say centimetres or anything, so we can just write units there, and that's the answer. Get familiar with your calculator, make sure it's in degrees, and have a go at using that E activity as well. In this question, we're asked to find angle x, so an angle this time, not a side. Again, we have a pair of values. We have angle A over here, and this is side A. This is angle C, and this is side C. So we can use the sine rule, and I'm going to start with the formula that has the sine C on the top because I'm trying to find an angle, so it's easier if I start with the angle on the top of the fraction. And then I would have sine A over little a being the side. So that is sine of angle C, which is x, over the side opposite it, which is side C, which is 13, over sine 73 over 15 is the side A. So I must write that line of working out down, and then I've got a choice. I can go to my E activity and put in the values, or I can solve this by hand. So if I'm going to solve this by hand, what I would do is I would bring up the 13. And then when I put sine of 73 divided by 15 and times by 13, I put that into my calculator, and it gives me 0.829. But that's what sine of x is. So in order to get x, what you need to do is do the inverse sine. So the sine -1, where you press shift sine and put in your 0.829, or just drag it down on your calculator, and that will tell you that x to 1 decimal place is 56.0 degrees. Okay, a couple of things to remember. Make sure you're in degrees for your calculator. Okay, you have to write down a line of working out, which would be this one. And then you can go straight to the answer. If you're using your E activity, you'll be able to do that. Okay, if you're using your E activity, it doesn't really matter which way round. You could have had your fractions the other way round. So started with your 13 over sine x equals 15 over sine 73. That makes no difference. But if you're going to try and solve it by hand, which some of you prefer to do on the little grey scientific calculators, it's much, much easier if you start with whatever is unknown on the top. So if it's an angle, you start with the sine x's on the top, and you have to be consistent on both sides of the equals, obviously. If you're trying to find a side, then you would start with the sides on the top. Okay, and that's how you answer these questions. So now I'd like you to go to the math space activity and complete the sine rule questions. There's only 10 of them, so you should be able to get them all done. And then you can carry on doing the right angle trigonometry questions, which is just reviewing all of that stuff from last term. Okay, good luck. Do some work today.